Hello, writers. This is Jeri Darby, and I am back with the ABCs of writing. And I've been gone for a while, but I'm going to get through this alphabet. And I did not do the list for you all to go over the previous alphabets today, so I forgot to do that. But today I am on letter R. Letter R is for revisions. And I always say that writing a book really is as simple as ABCs when you know the ABCs. Thank you, Londa, for joining. I appreciate you. And today, again, R is for revision. And revision is such an important process in the writing process. It's so important, but it's one that writers tend to overlook. And thank you, Phyllis, for joining. And I'm back with the ABCs of writing today. And so I'm going to read the scripture that's in Romans 12:2. And I love the scripture because it always tells me, to go a little further, dig a little deeper. And it says, and be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is that good, acceptable, and perfect will of God. And so when you're writing a book, so many people marry their draft. They say, I'm writing a book, and they write it, they get done, they put that last period on, and they're so excited, and they just rush it off to an editor or a publisher. And I think that is one of the most detrimental mistakes that writers make today. It's like going back to the scripture. You can write something, it could be acceptable, but do you want to just produce an acceptable book? It could be a good book, but do you not want to look it over to see that it can be better? Now, there may not be any perfect books out there, but you want to get your book as close to perfect as possible. And so many times people say, well, that's the editor's job, that's the publisher's job. No, that's your job. It's your book, it's your vision. And so today I want to talk about revision. And so I always try to get it in the mind of writers. You're writing a draft. Don't even consider it to be a book. You're writing a draft. That's the first thing that you want to get in your mind. Then when you write your draft, don't marry your draft and say, okay. I used to go to writing conferences, and they would have editors from big companies there, from big publishing companies, and they would just share stories how sometimes people would turn in handwritten manuscripts and give them instructions. Don't change any words in my manuscript because this is exactly how God gave it to me. And of course, their manuscripts probably never even got read by the publishers, because what happens is, like, I receive manuscripts sometimes, and then when I receive them, the person that sent them to me, after I have read through it and edited it, then they're like, you know what, I want to add this and I want to add that. There's nothing wrong with that. That's good. But it's not good if that's your first time looking at it again and then deciding what you want to add. You should look at your manuscript or your draft before you send it off. In fact, when you write it, you should take a break from it and come back, look at it with fresh eyes, so you can see it might be some stuff in there and say, well, this don't even belong in this book. Or it might be some stuff, oh, I needed to add this. I should add this to this book. So that's the power of revision. And so I'm going to give you some other words for revision, so maybe it can help you think about it in a fresh way. We know that revision is rewriting, proofreading. Editors and publishers, they say that you're polishing your manuscript when you revise it, and they want to receive a polished manuscript. Overhaul. It's like you're not going to damage your manuscript just by looking at it and trying to elevate it to the next level. What I do recommend is when you're revising stuff that you save copies of the previous drafts. Like if I'm revising something totally, I save a copy of that, because sometimes you revise it and you think about it and it's like, you know what, I like the way it was before. Or you might just want to save a few things that you put in it before. So don't just destroy the old copy. Make a new copy when you're doing a revision. Some other words for revision is editing, and you should be the self-editor, the first editor of your project. So self-editing. And refinement. You want to refine it, adjust it, modify it, rework it. Alterations. When you think about life, we're constantly revising things in our life. So why not revise your book when you get it done? Why not take another look at it? Like, I'm trying to make friends with my natural hair. And so I'm constantly saying, well, maybe I should try this, maybe I should try that, because a lot of the things I have done with them, I haven't really liked them. So I'm not going to just continue to do the same old thing. I'm going to try to revise, to alter, to rework, to modify. And just last night, I was working on a project, and the scripture again says acceptable. And what I did was quite acceptable, and people would have been impressed with it. But I knew that I could do better. So I kept working on it. I probably redid this project last night, I don't know. I lost count. Could have been 50 times. I don't know. But I kept working on it, and then it got beyond acceptable. And it's like, oh, yeah, this is really good. And then I kept adding, and that's the creative process. When you're writing, put a demand on the creativity that's inside of you, because God gave it to you. And if we look at Him, if we look at God in the creative process, He didn't say, okay, I think I'll make a flower. No, He made all kind of blooming flowers and green flowers that don't bloom. I don't know a lot about flowers, but I know that there is a lot of variety. He didn't just make, he didn't say, I'm going to put fish in the oceans. We got creatures in the oceans that we haven't even seen half of them. They're so weird, but they're there because He put a demand on this creativity. And so it's important that we do that with our books. When you begin writing the book and you're really in touch with it, your book will start to speak to you. And when you think you're done, and this is the power of revision, your book will start to say, you know what, you need to add this. You know what, you need to do that. And that's why it's important to be friends with your book. It's important to stay in communication with it. It's important that when you get ideas that you write them down. And it's important that when you think you're done, that you pause and see if you're really done. It's just like giving birth, and sometimes we hear books referred to as, oh, that's your baby, that's my baby. And it's just like with giving birth. It takes 9 months for a baby to be fully developed. And what happens, like if a baby comes early, or if a baby has a complication, or if it has a deficiency, then there's going to be some malformations or some critical issues with the baby. And it could be critical issues with your book if you don't let it take time to fully develop in your heart and in your mind as you're writing and as you're releasing it. And that's the power and that's the beauty of revision. So today, letter R was for revision. And I hope I have covered everything I wanted to cover. Let me see. Yep, it's important to do that before. You know, you don't want, sometimes I feel like I work harder on people's books than they have. But like I said, I'm happy to be the midwife in the delivery room, telling you to push, but I want you working and laboring with me, and that's the revision process. And when an editor or publisher receives a book, they can tell. They know whether you labored with that book or not. They can tell. They say, oh, okay, this was just a fresh off the press, didn't take a second look, and they just sent it in. Don't do your book like that, because God is giving you that message to release to people. So make sure that the message is complete. Make sure that the message is not just acceptable and not just good, but it's perfected to the best of your ability. And then that's going to allow the editor or publisher to perfect it to the best of their ability. Because we don't want to just write books. We want to write books that people are actually going to read. I see Phyllis in the comments, and I know that the reports that I get on your book, and I don't know what you have heard, but people say, I couldn't put it down. I couldn't put it down. Or some of them have said, I had to take a break from it because it is so transparent and so intense in this message that I had to rest in between, but I couldn't, I had to get back to it. So that's what you want people to say. And even your readers can tell if you labored with your book. Okay, so I just want you to think about revision. It's a powerful part of the writing process. All right, and I will be back, and I won't take a break as long as I did before I came back with the letter R, but it's been a lot going on, probably a lot going on in your life too, but I'm committed to writing. Even though I haven't been here, I have published 2 books, and I have one that will be released early in February, and I'm really excited about it. I have heard I had to get back to it, and that's not unusual when a writer, Phyllis, has been so transparent in their story that puts you right there in the midst of their suffering. And that's what your book does. It's like you don't just tell your story, you show it, and it's demonstrated powerfully through the use of your language. So yes, it's and trust me, they're going to get back to it. And so yes, I was saying, and what I want to be sure to say, I put the link in. I didn't mean to use the word link, because sometimes Facebook would take down my videos when I use that word. But it's in the title or section. If you would like a download of the complete ABCs of writing, you can receive that if you just get the information in the comment section. And also, if you would like to hear more videos on the ABCs of writing, then I think you could hashtag Jeri Darby ABCs of writing, and they should come up in the video section. And so, thank you for joining, and please do share this video with others that may have an interest in writing also. I'm committed to helping to empower writers on their journey, because that's the heart of God. There's a scripture that says the whole earth will be filled with His glory. And one of the ways that He is filling the earth with His glory is when you share your story, your testimony, and your books. And Howard Robert, suppose seemed like a nice woman. I'm trying. Do you all get these kind of messages? I get a ton of these messages about I tried to send you a friend report request, and they're very irritating. But anyway, if you do get them, please do delete and block, okay? But anyway, have a great day, and I look forward to seeing you all again. Goodbye.